Hey, what is this thing? It says, learn read. Got it. Okay. All right.
Okay, yeah. That's it. Welcome to Sunday Live Chat. Welcome the one and onlys. These guys barely need introduction. Bill Leeb, Rhys Fulber, Frontline Assembly.
Welcome. Yo.
Welcome. Here we go. Wow, I've been waiting for this one for a while. Let's get this all going. Bill's there up in Canada. I got Rhys sitting across from me here in Los Angeles, California. Bill, what you're coming down here tomorrow?
Yes, tomorrow night I'm flying into, is it Berkeley or somewhere, or
Burbank?
Berkeley, yeah, that's
Burbank. Right, yeah. So
Burbank. You're lucky you're flying to Burbank. It's right by your hotel. You don't have to schlep. It's great.
And Jason said he was picking me up because, you know, he's probably worried that I might not show up. So he said he's coming to get me.
So do you have a connecting flight?
No, I think
that's a direct flight to Burbank.
There's a new airline. Is it called Flair?
No. I'm going to LA. I'm going with Air Canada. Yeah.
Okay. There's another airline that does a direct. I noticed.
No. Yeah, no, I'm going to Air Canada all the way to, I guess.
I mean, we're going to have to find out about this. Usually, like from here to Burbank Airport, it's like about a 7 to 10 minute drive.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah.
And to drive to LAX now is about, like, it's gotten to be about a stressful 1 hour and a half or 2 hour drive. It'll take your skin off too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Burbank's the way to go.
It is. It's the way to go.
So,
I'm good, right?
Bill, thank you for joining. I know that this is probably one of the first of this kind that you've done, and I appreciate it. So let's dive right in. You guys are about to start your tour. When is it happening?
May 5th, first date.
May 5th, first date.
At the DNA Lounge, right?
DNA in San Francisco.
So you guys are going up to San Francisco first. The DNA Lounge looks like you follow up to Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake, Denver. You can see the list here, people. Get your tickets, and you've got Rain as your support act. And what? She's from Sweden.
She's Swedish, yeah.
How did that come about? Did you guys hook that up? Was that something you guys knew about, or?
We knew about her music, but I don't remember how the tour came. Maybe Bill.
It was Jason. Jason's been working on that connection for quite a while because he wanted her for Cold Waves. And so when the ministry thing didn't work out, he just said, "Hey, I've got a great idea. Why don't you go out with Rain, because, you know, you guys are all in the same world of electronic music and so forth." So it seemed like a perfect fit. And this is her USA debut. And so kind of a big thing for her, I guess, you know.
I think it would be cool. I checked out one of her videos, and she definitely seems like she's inspired.
The production is great.
Inspired by the scene, and she's able to carry over that lighting thing that she has going on too. I saw she had some pretty killer lighting,
probably
things.
I'm sure they got something figured out.
So it's been a while since you guys have been able to go on the road, and plus that, you guys were destined, or not destined. You were not destined to be part of this tour that was like the ill-fated ministry situation. Does it feel better that that's not happening that way after seeing like what's going on?
I mean, we were like excited about it. We thought it would have been really cool. And then with all the back and forth and all the whatever, it's just like, all right, who cares?
Yeah.
It's just like,
like when Jason first approached and asked me if we wanted to support ministry, I said to him, quote unquote, "It's never going to happen." And he I said, and that's the truth, right? And then, but you know, when they said KMFDM ministry, the first 2 weeks, half the shows had sold out, and they sold so well that ministry management came back to us and said, "Are you guys willing to do a second leg of this tour? Because there seems to be that much interest." And so then we thought about it, and we said, okay, so we put our European tour on hold so we could fit that in. And then, of course, you know, next thing, KMFDM pulled out. Then there was the whole Sin Quinn thing that happened. and then Helmut came in, and then basically somebody said Al had broke his leg, and then basically we were just left on a raft floating down the river.
Yeah, the best part was when they rebooked the tour, but we weren't on, and it was like, it's like,
That's a shit. That was shitty.
It's like, oh yeah, you guys aren't on the rebooking, by the way. Remember that one week? Yeah.
That's not good.
So I wonder today how serious we were ever to be part of that whole picture. It just seems kind of bizarre with everything that's happened, and then COVID, and so it's been a couple of years, and so I think it's kind of pretty bizarre that it all, I think for a lot of bands now to start up again and go out there and try to regain their momentum. And, there's still restrictions, we got COVID restrictions for the bus and meetings. So I think things are the same, but they are different. So it'll be interesting to see like what kind of fanfares out there and what people are, and now that Ministry have just finished touring, and I think half of their ticket sales, half the people there had them from the initial thing. So it's kind of, the whole thing's a little bizarre still, but, we might as well just go out there and see if anything happens,
I think it's probably for the better that you guys did that, because look how it turned out. It kind of turned out
it is
that it was like more of a metal show they wanted to do.
This actually is definitely,
and then you guys are more purely going electronic, even though we lost your camera there, Bill.
Well, yeah, like I don't know why people are like calling me, but they shouldn't be. I don't know how to.
You're busy man. You're a busy man.
Like,
Jesus,
leave Bill alone while he's on the phone.
They'll hang up and go away, right?
It'll go away.
But, God, who knew this was going to get so technical? I want to say hello to all our listeners in Europe. Do you think anybody's listening out there?
Let's ask. Oh, there he is. He's back. Yeah, usually there is. There's usually people
any Germans out there
that are from Europe. Gernau Goebel, I know that he said he was going to be tuning in from his car, and he's our regular German.
You know what I do when we're in Europe? I always when there's like people hanging around and German, I go talk German to Bill. He speaks German. Go talk to him. Put Bill on the spot.
There's Gernau. You got South Wales, UK. Where else? Anybody out there? Steve Ara says Tim's Gold is part of the live lineup. Is that gonna? How is that gonna change the sound of Frontline Assembly in any way?
It's a little more rock, but in a good way.
Yeah.
It's not more metal. It's like, it just energized the sound. It just makes us sound more like a little more live, but his approach to guitar is more hybrid approach. It's not metal. He's not really a metal guitar player. So it kind of adds almost like, some of the guitar sounds are almost synthetic. So it's almost like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it integrates really well. And it's, I think it might be the best sort of guitar angle we've had live.
Right.
Because it just fits together really tightly. Tim's a really good musician. And it's just, with him and John, this might be the best live band we've had.
Good.
It sounds super tight.
I was with your drummer, John Siren, last night at the IMX concert downtown that Chris did. And we were talking about your tour. He's very excited.
Yeah, John's awesome.
And
John's great.
So you guys are all geared up. So Bill, you leave tomorrow. You're coming down here.
Maybe. Well, actually, like the whole thing with Tim Skold was like, initially, before that with the old members, with Jared and Jeremy and everybody, we were sort of, maybe it was a bit more electronic based, but, because we were going to go out on the Ministry tour, we thought, a lot of their fans are much more into sort of guitar heavy music and so forth. So when, we brought up Tim's name, we thought perfect fit, we thought like, we're going to play a different set. We're going to play much more like, like songs that have guitars. So, so all these things have sort of interconnected and intertwined. And I guess the only thing I noticed since you went and saw the show last night, I noticed they are playing the same night in Portland as we are. And Rhys said we're going to actually try to make both shows.
I think it was Salt Lake City.
If you can catch
Portland.
If you can catch the show that Chris is doing, he's doing a solo show where he's completely rewritten all of his material into modular format.
He's using synths.
It sounds like old Human League,
really?
like really nice. I mean, I was blown away. I was literally blown away. It's a one-man show.
Sounds interesting.
And possibly the most interesting show that Chris has done because of that. It's coming across a little bit like Lou Reedy Metal Machine music, like
that's a good thing.
Beautifully cold, but at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go again tonight to see it. And I think John's gonna come tonight again too. So maybe you should come check it out.
Where is it?
It's tonight downtown. I can't remember the name of the venue.
I'll look at it.
Yeah,
okay.
But totally worth it. But Bill, yeah, check it out. David Stewart says closer to the Millennium Era sound with Skoll.
No, not really. It's different. It's different. It's kind of hard to, the Angriff song is more in the zone. Because the guitar playing's not overtly metal.
Right.
It's a little hard to describe.
But you guys have had great guitar players join you, like Dino from Fear Factory is not an uncommon guest. He's on your latest?
No, he's never played. No, he did play on a song. Oh crap. Yeah, Dino's the man. I think Dino wants to jam with us in San Diego and LA. He wants to play Millennium.
And Devin Townsend's played with us live.
Devin Townsend.
We got Devin before he was a world star.
Playing guitar at the beginning, and then
you want to call it,
of course.
But okay, so let's talk about the making of this album. I think this is one of the first albums.
Simon, okay, right, Rhys?
Oh yeah, Jed was awesome. Jed was in strapping. He came from the Devon orbit. He was a great guitar player. He was a very metal guitar player. It was a little bit of a different kind of style.
So a few, but there is some guitar on Mechanical Soul.
Yes, there is.
And it is. Is this something that
there's a backstory to that song? The song Dino's on. What the hell is it called? Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. I can't remember.
It's okay. We're allowed to forget the titles of our own songs.
I can't remember. Is it called Stifle? Stifle.
Stifle?
Okay. I was doing some tracks for the Cyberpunk 2077 video game. And I did a pile of tracks and they picked a couple. And then there was a few that they liked and then didn't want to use. That was one of them. And I gave this song to Bill and I'm like, what do you think of this? Bill likes it. And then he thought maybe we need guitar on this. I gave it to Dino. He did his thing. And then Bill did a really good vocal actually. And that was that. So that, I thought it was a cool track. So it was good we found a place for it because even though it was exactly what the Cyberpunk people asked for, they changed their mind.
You guys have been kind of nonstop this year, though. With I guess you were finishing Mechanical Soul so that you could get on the road with Ministry, and get.
No, I don't think those two things were really that connected. I think we were just doing the record.
Yeah,
we kind of did a Noise Unit record and a Frontline record, kind of like
simultaneously.
Not simultaneously, but same kind of zone, relatively.
Deviator.
We just had a lot of tunes kicking around.
You had a lot of tunes. So was this something you wrote specifically at this time for these albums, or
it was a bit? It was a bunch. It was all kinds of stuff. We wrote some. It was some stuff that we had. It was a bit of everything, to be honest. And then, I think what was different about Deviator was I did the vocals. Bill, you did the vocals with me on that one, right?
Yep.
That was kind of cool. Because I had never really recorded Bill's vocals. It was always Greg and everything. So we did the vocals together and it was awesome. It was super fun. And
nice.
Because, I've worked with a lot of bands. I've, recorded lots of singers. And I was telling people, working with Bill was way easier than a lot of bands I've done because he comes in, he knows what he's doing. He this is the Bill Leeb sound. This is what I'm doing. I got all my lyrics. And I mean, we were doing like 3-4 tunes a day. which is unheard of.
Wow, good for you guys.
So
Were you
so
guys-
it was kind of cool. We had a real good rhythm going. And you remember that, Bill?
Yeah, which album was that?
Deviator. Remember how we bashed all those? It was super fun.
Just kidding. We're actually, yeah, no, we're actually waiting for Greg to start mixing our new Delirium album, which we just finished as well, right? Which we're pretty excited. And yeah, I mean, I guess you just, with COVID and everything, you always think like, are you ever going to be on the road again? Or is anything ever going to matter? I mean, everything changed so drastically. I found that, so yeah, I guess I think a lot of bands released a lot of music during the last 2 years. And
It's a bit of a logjam actually from the COVID era.
I mean, there's no point just sitting around. You might as well just get creative, right? And then also in the meantime, you started sending us some pretty interesting stuff, Kevin, right?
We allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, sure.
I signed an NDA, I thought.
and the last two things you said, tracks are, I thought, really powerful and really, like challenging tracks, so it's like.
I got to tell you, Katie, the last couple of sets of tune, I'm like, yeah.
Something to chew on. Those are the songs that I worked on with Eric, Eric in Quantum. Big up, Eric, if you're out there on the chat right now. And they've got this new sort of vibe that is coming through that we're digging in. And so, yeah, Cyberactive, man. I mean, we're excited. I see Fisherman coming in.
Fisherman's coming to say hi.
He had
I forgot your dog's name.
That's Connie.
Connie is here.
But let's talk about the legendary Greg really for a second. God, man.
Where's that picture taken?
Looks like, Bill, like you're having a good time back there. Is this recently?
Yeah, I think that's like, like I think I was actually, I was doing vocals for the me and Jeremy project, like all the songs that never made anywhere. I guess I found this whole CD and I just, it's done and it's mastered. So it's called Chiba City Blues, and it's basically all the tracks that we never found a home for. And then I went and did about 4 or 5 vocal tracks for it. And then we're at Greg's Palatial Palace on Quail Ridge in Osoyoos, and it's just fun working on that. And I guess that's the last of Jeremy's music, which was kind of, which is a pretty emotional thing too, I mean.
It's cool you finished his stuff. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is still coming out then.
Oh, I think it's on Artifact. I don't think till.
Oh, it's okay on the last Jeremy album.
There's rush because like all of Jeremy's stuff, all the profits get donated to the food bank and stuff. So it's like I thought it was important to get it out there. We had a whole CD of songs and we never, I thought, released them, and why not, right? So
there's a couple on the Noise Unit record that were Jeremy tunes that we finished.
Yeah. I miss Jeremy, man.
Jeremy was awesome. Yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, we had such a good time when we were toured together.
He's a sweet guy. He was such a sweet guy.
I love being with you guys. He was great energy.
He's a great energy sweet guy.
He was the guy that would be like get so excited about going on tour, and we'd be all humming a bunch of old men, but he was excited, but he was all showing up at the airport and his passport's missing, his duffel bag's overweight. He just smoked a big joint walking into the airport smelling like cannabis, there's people around. I mean, there was never a dull moment. You know what I mean?
Like lovable chaos is
yes.
Yeah.
So
it was oh man, but in like a sweet way where like you couldn't ever be mad at him, kind of,
Yeah.
He was just never in a bad mood, always up for it.
So sad though, too. I mean, we've seen Bill throughout the history of us being together. We've seen so many people come and go.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
And even Rhys, I mean, God, when Bill first met you were.
Oh, look at that.
You were young.
15. I think I'm 15 in that picture. That's not Tilda Swinton. That's me.
Yes,
that's an unbelievable picture.
Look at that.
I think I briefly remember meeting you at this moment and thinking like, I think you had braces and stuff too.
Oh yeah, I had braces. Yeah.
But you guys have had a long history, man. Lots of touring and lots of stuff.
Well, it just mostly came because I got really into that music, and then I met Bill at Black Market, and you know,
What a lucky day.
well, the thing was in Vancouver at that time, Skinny Puppy were, you know, hot property, and everyone knew Skinny Puppy, and then there was another crowd of people that were really into the music associated with Skinny Puppy, but Vancouver wasn't really that big a city, so I think I remember running into you and Bill, and I had a drum machine, and you were like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Because people weren't walking around with drum machines back then. You know what I mean? So so it was because I mean I hated kind of Vancouver when I was a kid, but now I kind of miss the way it used to be because
for sure.
it was small,
I can only imagine.
but there was cool stuff going on, and even the punk scene in Vancouver was fairly sophisticated. You remember those bands, like those UBC bands, like U Jerks and all that stuff?
Oh, for sure.
I mean, it was super artsy and cosmopolitan for a little frontier seaport, right?
We had a fantastic scene in Vancouver as a city that you didn't need a car to go do anything either. You could go and be a part of everything by foot.
I totally miss.
So bizarre.
I miss the old Vancouver. Like I said, when I was a kid, I'm like, God, I hate this place. I got to get out of here. But now I look back and go, because you don't appreciate stuff sometimes. And it was, that's Hamburg, by the way.
Well, that's not Vancouver.
That's Hamburg. And that's Vancouver.
Okay, there you go.
Hey, Kevin, don't you miss like walking around with your big hair and getting feeling like we're going to get beat up at any time, and you'd be like, "Hey, look at that! That's so hill, Bill. Those guys, they want to kill us." Remember?
Full on, man. I'll get to the studio shot here after. Oh, full on. You know, Vancouver at that time, I was saying to Rihanna how
dangerous
when you dress the way we dressed back in those days. It was a little risky.
Oh, I mean, I lived in East Van, and I used to walk around like Tilda Swinton there. I mean, it was not easy.
No, I have to say too, though, that
Kevin, when you looked uncomfortable when we were in my MGB and I had the roof down and we stuck 3 feet above the windshield and our hair was up, and we drove off the street, and you'd look at me, you go, Bill, this is really hilt. It's just like,
you know, it was funny as someone who is more of on the outside at the time, is there's always a Skinny Puppy sighting downtown because you can't miss those guys. Everyone's like 6'5" with hair. And then remember when Ogre worked at Discus in the Pacific Center Mall, full hair at all time. He looks like he's in the Remission era videos. Working at a record store.
We were living the look. Like, it's not like
it was lifestyle. It was 24 hour. I mean, in some ways, if you look back to like, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, it's kind of the same. It's all in lifestyle. You know, it's sort of similar, right?
Bill, I honestly do think that we have to thank you and Debbie really for the birth of the entire scene, because like I was like, like this good-natured Images in Vogue, like pretty, like I had no idea about the depths of the underground until one night I went to a club and I ran into Bill and Debbie, and I happened to have a picture of that night, Bill.
Look at that.
Right. This is a picture from the night in 1982.
Wow.
And you said, "Why don't you come back to my place after and hang out with me and Debbie?" And that was a life-changing night. Absolutely life-changing.
Bill's giving me some Blixa vibes in the face there.
Well, so that night we went back to Bill and Debbie's, and you guys had a DJ setup, which at that time, 1982 wasn't the first thing you ran into, and you made this cassette.
Oh shit!
Oh wow!
I still have it right here.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's called, Verboten.
Okay,
and, you did one side and Debbie did the other side, and it was done on the 22nd of June, 1983. So there's the exact date.
You know what? I have a Bill Leeb mixtape similar that I think he made for me in like 85 or something. And again, it was all mixed into each other because he had 2 turntables and a mixer, which was like otherworldly. And I think I still have it, but now I'm inspired. I got to look for it because I remember Bill made me a tape and it was like,
oh, it's amazing. They're amazing.
It was
and life-changing.
Yeah, because that's when it was like Fat Gadget and like a bunch of music I'd never heard before. And
so that night, Bill played a bunch of stuff that the next day I had to go get.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm going to say, Bill, you know, this was probably the biggest game changer for me is when you played me this up that night.
I have an uncopied version, an unopened version, and the one I played. Yeah,
So
the bridge.
that night, this
Right.
ripped my skull off. I mean, it just changed my life. So I had to get it the next
That's
day.
awesome.
Also, this album, you played this album, The World of Rubber, Second Layer, an unheard of album, completely amazing album. I heard at the same night was sitting down with you, and followed up by Growzone. This album, you were playing Growzone, and followed up by, well, actually, this is where it went. This is where I remember that we kind of, you know, got to discover this album together because Bill had opened the door, and then this album came along, and it was like, I don't think there was two people on the earth that were so mutually inspired by an album.
Yeah. I mean, like I'd never anybody do that. I thought to sing like that, to like have that attitude, that approach, you know, was like,
and
it was a changer.
And you
Totally.
remember, like, you know how everyone goes on about late 80s, early 90s, Acid with the TB-303? That's the 303 record. That's way before
I couldn't
anybody.
believe that.
That record is a 303 and a 606 and like almost nothing else.
I couldn't believe
so. That's an Acid record.
I thought, like, wow, they've used the TB-303 in a way that I didn't even know that.
They don't get any real recognition for it because everyone talks about this box like it's this in dance music. Meanwhile, Portion Control crushing it way before all of them.
Well, I remember this album was kind of like the impetus where I know that this really made us get busy and you know, we had to find our place.
Yeah.
And Bill, this album too, since the accident.
Yeah. Oh my God. Game changer, life changer.
Put all these things together, and what do you come up with is a very, very ripe Vancouver scene with a bunch of very inspired musicians hanging out looking like this.
Oh yeah, that's a cool picture.
Look at that, Bill.
Oh, that's a cool picture.
Damn.
Right there in that exact spot.
That has to be
in that exact spot.
That has to be the West End.
It is. That's the first apartment on Barclay Street.
Okay.
And in that exact spot is where the first Skinny Puppy song was written. In that exact spot, like that's where I set up the equipment.
What, the Pit or something? Or?
I had a 606 and a
no, the Pit, wasn't that the track? The Pit.
It was K9.
Oh, K9.
K9.
Sorry, yeah.
And Bill was there. We used to have parties in this apartment. It was like kind of like known as the party apartment. Edward came over.
I remember
that Carlo in the
jacket.
background there.
I rember that jean jacket. You still have, where's that jean jacket, Bill?
This is at Channel 1. I remember very early in the scene. Bill, here's the original, what we called the Brack Gang.
Is that Rob Geary?
Rob Geary, Pat Patterson, Karen, there's Carol Ann, Tracy Sully, Gary Smith.
Yeah, that Gary and Rob
and the Juice, Emer.
Yeah.
But Bill, this is the picture I really like. Because this was really the beginning. I see you had the Rutger Hauer thing going hardcore. And I even see that this guy, Walter, was here. Walter was real early. And then the Big Earl and Juice and Gary and Kelly, she was a friend of Tracy's. This was like the beginning of like the Vancouver, okay, you might want to call it the Vancouver industrial scene. But, you know, without Debbie, I really don't know, like, if there was a bigger inspirer of like the you know, can you say there was a bigger inspirer, Bill, other than yourself?
Wait a minute. Is she wearing that remission photo shoot flight suit?
Oh my God, it looks like she is.
That's wild.
She introduced me to you, right?
Yes, absolutely, Bill. I was the pen salesman, and you were brought in, and I was introduced to you in about 1979. That was.
Yeah.
Here we are, the original Brack Gang.
Is that a brain eater on the wall?
That's a brain eater.
Yes, yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. It all made
at the beginning.
It all fell together. It was pretty cool, actually, right? And don't you remember when we went to pick up Tom Ellard at the airport, me and you?
Yes.
And he was like,
severed headshot.
He's 5'1", maybe.
Yeah.
And me and both close to 6'5", and we had our hair, so we're like 6'8", and he looked at us all kind of nervous, like, "Are you guys the guys?" Remember?
Yep.
Tom Ellard honestly, it was ahead of the curve with style, because now everyone in Silver Lake looks like Tom Eller.
Oh my God.
In 1984.
You know, Tom has never stopped being in vogue. You know,
I know, right?
Tom's a genius.
yeah.
He's a genius. You ever read his synth reviews?
Oh yeah, he's a genius. Everybody should listen to what Tom says. He's always right. You know,
It's so weird, you know, the accident. In the morning, I'd get up, I'd have a coffee, I'd find my Camel Lights, and I'd play that record 3 times as loud as I could, and then I was ready for the day. You know, I mean,
I thought you smoked Kents.
No, Camel Lights.
Yeah. I Kents at first, then Camel Lights. I switched.
I remember I came too late. I just remember the Camel Lights. Hey, that's where I used to skip high school.
This is where I first met you, Rhys, and this was the first place where a Skinny Puppy cassette was ever sold, Black Market. And
Yeah.
that's the lovely Carol Ann
You know, I tell
in the
people,
legendary Black Market,
right?
where Bill used to work at this time.
Well, I was skipping high school. I was hanging out, talking music with Bill. You come in. I remember this clear, like it happened like a week ago. And you come in and you're like, oh, we're at the studio last night. And the way people used to talk in those days was, do you have a tape? Right?
Yeah.
And you're like, yes, I do. And you put on Dig It. And I was like 15 or something. And I'm just standing there trying to be cool. But in my head, I'm like, what the hell is this? This is nuts. And so I remember that clear as day. I got to hear Dig It the morning after you guys did it in the Black Market. And there was no one in the store. You put it on loud. And I just remember going, what the hell is this? Because it didn't even sound like anything else. It was just, that was a real cool moment. Anyway.
What I think is really important is that Bill took like a guy, like I was deeply involved in gear and deeply involved in everything that I had done. And we had been relatively professional in Images.
Well, Image was pretty
professional.
established. I saw you in Switchback.
Bill came and like in set this like inspiration where it was like all of a sudden it became something that you love, like something that you were following.
Well, what happens is now it's art.
Now it's art.
And now it's not just a gigging band. Now we're following art.
Right.
And we're following art. That's what you're doing.
And the greatest thing is that, you know, obviously it wasn't right at first, like Bill, you know, you were the biggest supporter. And when we did our first gig, Bill's like the whole gig, Skinny Puppy, just yelling, Skinny Puppy, Skinny Puppy.
Into it because
we figured that, you know, had to get Bill going. And then so Bill, I remember you had the impetus to go down and buy this absolutely classic Mini Moog.
Yeah, I took a loan for $500. It cost $700. I had $200, so I took a $500 loan at the bank. Buy it, right, from the guy Lana McQuaid. It was like
that's a great. That's you know, that's on the Choke Icebreaker.
It's on Smothered. It's on it's on basically, you know,
the Beer Garden song, you know, the first EP, right? Remember when we did that?
Also, the first professional Frontline record I did, Costa Grip, that is almost the whole record is that sampled into the Akai.
Oh, Cage. Song Cage is,
I remember that was
a
a cool
song.
track, yeah.
It's all that. So what's awesome is that somehow our pal Josh Hawley got a hold of this, and he has it immortalized into what he calls his Skinny Puppy Museum. And he's looked into this, Bill, and he claims that it is possibly one of the nicest Model Ds that he has ever seen or heard.
It does sound good.
And I do concur, remembering that it sounded better than any of the other
They're all a little different.
ones. They're all a little different.
all
So
a little
something
different.
about this one was incredibly special. But, you know,
Well,
I mean,
I'm going to cry in a minute here. Stop.
Oh, look at that.
what's your memories of like,
What was that magazine that was in?
I think it was called the Vancouver magazine?
No, the one from Toronto, that glossy one. Remember that? What was that?
Graffiti?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
Graffiti
Yeah, that's
magazine,
it. Yeah.
This is when I guess we started defining the big hair. But, you know, really, Bill really had like always the best big hair.
I don't know. Olga has pretty good. You guys both had. What are you talking about?
Love that picture. The flight suit picture.
No.
That was the one, man.
I remember when we were walking up the street that day with this makeup on, how people were looking at me when I was going to Bill's place. And I got to Bill's place and I was like, thank God I got here safe.
Oh yeah.
Because we were walking the streets looking like this on this day. It was like so
exactly.
funny.
Exactly. I mean, Ogre looked like that when he worked at that store.
Yeah. I mean, we went through a lot of crimping irons and hairspray. And a lot of cigarettes. I remember.
Who's that? Who you interviewed?
That's some guy in Winnipeg. I remember this was at the tail end of our
Look
first.
at those Labatt 50s.
Yeah,
On the
1985
table. That's awesome.
tour where we've done, I think, 5 or 6 shows. We even like had to like run across the U.S. border without a visa.
Look at, you know what? I gotta tell you, that's pretty on point hair in that picture. Look at that. That's right on point.
What's your takeaway from all this?
What's that?
What's your takeaway from all this?
You know, like I wouldn't change a thing. You know, I mean that photo to me. I mean that was that all night session for one of your most famous songs, right?
Yeah.
Remember?
With Tom Ellard. Yeah.
I'm trying to see what angle of mushroom.
So that's like looking sort of like at the control.
Oh yeah.
Mixer
is that the side room with the glass behind Bill? That's the side kind of ISO booth.
Yeah.
All right, now. Okay,
look how young Ogre looks though. I remember this was just right.
That was like a late session night. You remember?
It was all night from midnight
all night.
To 9 a.m.
4 a.m. You're still trying to like find the chorus, right? And then Tom telling Ogre how to sort of like sing it, and it was like, and then all of a sudden you found the chorus, and the rest is history. One of the most famous songs in that era, Skinny Puppy, right?
Yep. I remember about this picture, Bill.
We just looked like bad mood boys. We were bad boys, right?
I also remember that we were high as fuck in this picture.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, MDA was ruling our world, and whatever else was
at
around.
That moment, we were on it at that moment.
That's a tight image. That's like.
I think that was made by that guy Kevin. What's his
Bernie?
Remember his name? Bill?
No.
Kevin. Can't remember his last name. Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the imagery was so.
And then you had Gilmore.
Yeah, Stephen Gilmore.
And Gilmore doing.
Kevin. I'm trying to remember his last name.
Was it with a W? No.
Yeah, Kevin W. Oh no, it wasn't Kevin Westenberg. He wasn't in there yet.
I remember that picture.
This would be the start of the video, right, Bill? Oh no, this was the same day that we did the classic street shot.
Yeah.
And this was I guess one of our gigs at the New York Theater very early on, where we're just like use 6 cans of hairspray. There's the classic shot.
Yeah, that's a great. Where is that?
So it's like it's on the north van side of where the Lionsgate Bridge is.
Oh, okay.
What would be the flatlands down there? It was like a beach.
It's like where's a trailer park now.
Yeah, but they'd taken the old decking off the bridge and they laid it down there.
So it's sort of where that trailer park kind of is now.
I guess.
Yeah.
But God, I remember, Bill, how slim we were to fit into those suits. I remember they were like something like about the equivalent of a 29 waist. But somehow Bill fit in.
I just, Kevin, like on Sunday morning, like getting up from the couch going, look, I've lost another 5 pounds. 2 days, right?
That is so true.
I know, like
you'd be on, you would just literally like be a waif by the end of the week, and you'd hopefully try to be able to eat something.
Well, Gary used to worry. He was down to 6 hits, and it was like we had to call Carlos, right? It's just like, anyways, those were the days, right?
Maybe we'll have to write a book about this era, because it was definitely, I mean, it's Vancouver's own psychedelic era in its own sense, that at some point it seemed like the whole scene was being fueled by it really early on.
We should give Nocturnal's Emission an honorable mention as well, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's a cool picture.
I have to say, I think we thanked Nocturnal Emissions, Legendary Pink Dots, and Portion Control at the beginning for their inspirations and stuff. And also we got to thank, Dave Jackson. Let's big up Dave Jackson.
Oh, look at that.
That's all Dave's the effort. Work. Like when we said we wanted to play live. And I want to build some synth stands for you. And I thought, just a normal synth stand. And he ended up building these fortresses that ended up weighing like about 500 pounds each, Bill, and the big rack. And
Dave offered, like, I'm going to build you a set, and then he came up with that.
Dave did all this on the kindness of his heart.
Hey, speaking of that, Kevin, like, I guess Jason's going to pick up our stands from your place, right?
Right, tomorrow at 4:30. Dave built
Really? Wow, I'm excited. Rhys, we get our stands. And, you know, like Jeremy's friend built those. And so like Jeremy was responsible for getting those done. So, you know, it's cool that him and Dave Jackson, all these people live vicarious through, you know, through us, through all the things we're still doing. I think that's really important, you know?
Percussion rack is something.
Yeah,
else.
the things, this is so funny how somebody liked us to the dogs. There's Dave there, the lower portion of this picture.
There's Dave.
Dave passed away a few years ago.
Wasn't Dave an underwater welder by trade?
Yes.
Which is insane.
Highly technical.
He's like
trained
practically,
guy.
it's almost like a civilian Navy
SEAL.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, and didn't he build a lot of the sets for you?
He built the early Frontline sets.
Yeah.
He was.
I'm glad that you didn't throw our stuff out, Kevin, because we're going to really use it on this tour, you know?
You're wearing a Nocturnal Emissions shirt right there. I remember that. Viral Shedding was also a huge album. Inspirational album for us.
And then, hey, he sent me his Wasp, which is pretty cool, right? It was kind of beat. He sent it to me, right?
Absolutely. So getting back to your tour, I mean, I know we've skipped back in time here.
Yeah.
What can people expect as far as like the songs? How did you put together the set? Did you pick one from each album? Or are you doing old school or all new school?
You know, Bill just came up to my place and we just were like, what? We try and balance it out because it's kind of hard. And then some songs don't work as the problem you have is when you have material spanning, you know, a good length of time, is you have these new songs that work really well live. And then sometimes you go, oh, let's play this old song. And then you play it, but it doesn't sound the same around the other songs. So you just have to kind of find the ones that work. Like not all old tunes and new tunes work cohesively in a set. So you just kind of have to figure out like which old tunes, like we tried to drop in a couple songs people would ask for a lot, and then they just don't end up, they don't work compared to the new ones.
Yeah.
But some old ones do. So you just have to mix and match and try and try and cover like a range, but within reason. There's like, you know.
Well, it's, you know, when you guys, you know, when Puppy tours, you know, like Assimilate, Warlock, you have to play those standards. And when you play those, people just melt. And you know, so I guess, you know, when we're doing Mind Phaser, and you know, you have to play those tracks that established you as a band. And then you try to throw in a few side curves and stuff. And we're going to play a couple songs we've never played before, like Arbite is a new one where we did a video for last year. And so, and like I said, that initially it was part of the sort of Ministry genre, you know, with the guitar thing. And so we're just trying to balance it. And you can never make, you know, like we can't play for 2 hours, like, you know, like say Depeche Mode when they play live, 2.5 hours. So they can, you know, you can play a lot more of your songs, but, you know, when you're limited to an hour and 10, 15 minutes, it's pretty hard to put 35 years into that 1 hour frame, you know, and keep it interesting. So you just try to do the best you can. And yeah, some songs are better live than others. You know, some songs sound great on vinyl, but then when you play them live, they just don't resonate in the same way. So we're trying to make it fun and upbeat, and having Tim along with the guitars and stuff. So try to make it, just make it interesting. And we have a whole new set of visuals that Rhys's friend in LA has been working on. I don't know his name. You know his name, Rhys?
Brian, yeah.
I've seen stills and they look amazing. So I think that's pretty exciting too.
I actually think Brian's on the East Coast. He's somewhere in
Okay. So, you know, and then, you know, of course, we got to try and keep up to Rain, because I think she's going to try to make us look like a bunch of old guys up. And just from what I've seen, she bounces it around pretty good. So I think it'll be a really interesting night for all aspects, you know, and her debut over here. So I think that, and we haven't been out for a while. So yeah, I think it'll be just a fun night. And anybody who's been stuck at home for the last few years, I think for anybody just to get out again and, you know, put their mask away. And I guess you don't need to wear a mask anymore. Do you need to wear a mask in the club? No.
Let her rip.
It's kind of weird, I'll say, but stay safe. You know, the thing is
Yeah.
like you keep yourselves away from any potential thing, because like Gary Newman's tour, I think he got down for 6 shows he lost.
Oh man, yeah.
Think about that. The income of 6 shows is
Well, then just sitting around and not playing,
and then not playing.
Yeah,
oh my God, and having to pay everybody.
So there is all
Very.
hopefully it'll all just and we're going all the way to West Palm Beach. I mean, all the way across and then back. So
Right.
it's a big journey. It's you know, we'll hopefully it'll all work out good.
Is the last tour you guys did the 2014 tour?
No, we did a European tour, and was it 18, Bill? What was the one with Crook? That 18?
Last 3 tours we did was the one with you guys, Spy versus Spy, which was probably the best tour ever.
Oh, American tour.
Yeah.
I think that was, no, the Revolting Cocks tour.
Oh, the Revolting Cocks tour. You're right. Yeah.
Yes.
What am I forgetting?
Which
I guess we
was-
just had so much fun on this tour that
That was
I
the
had to
best
bring
tour.
it up. How fun it was to see moments like this.
That was the best tour.
Oh my God.
I mean, I was on the whole tour,
Me-
but what I was on was the best.
How fitting, Vancouver, me and Ogre on stage doing a similar. I mean,
at the Commodore Ballroom.
Is that at the
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
Right.
all the phones?
You can't top that. That's all of us. You know, like all those years we hung out and partied and lived and loved and laughed. Right? All came to that. I mean, best moment ever. Right?
yeah, when you see those pictures at the beginning where they're sitting in the apartment, could you have ever imagined, Bill, that one
No.
day it would lead to a tear?
No.
And in Vancouver, to do it in Vancouver was also pretty special, right? In front of all of our friends and fans, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I also remember, Kevin, like when I used to work at Starbucks on Robson Street. And
You
Gary-
worked at Starbucks?
Yeah, you remember, you used to come in there.
Oh,
And
shit.
Gary used to come in. I used to give you guys coffee. And I remember, because it was like 89, 1990, somewhere around there. And I remember just going, and Kevin would come in and I'd give him coffee and I'd be like, you know, that's what I want to do. I just want to do that. Just be like a guy. Kevin's just like the guy in
Wandering.
Skinny Puppy. That's all he does. That's what I want to do. I don't want to be famous or rich. I just want to do music and that's it. That was my only goal. So
There were hard times, though. It wasn't
Yeah.
so easy, though, was it, Bill?
no,
Like,
it's a long road.
It was a long
It's
road.
a long road.
And luckily, we were devoted to what we did. And I guess, you know, we just stuck with it.
Yeah, because I did the Costa Grip when I worked at Starbucks because Bill only lived like about 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
So
But you know, the funny thing is that I don't think any of us, I never felt like, you know, like hardship or felt broke or like, you know, like it was always just, the music was so enough to make you want to get up every day and do it and succeed. And it was so important that it was really inspirational, you know, and I never wanted anything else. So it was kind of, there was no want of like, oh, I need this, or it was all just being creative and doing that and having enough gear to make another song or an album or going out there. And so in that way, I mean, what a fantastic journey and privilege to be able to be just part of this whole thing. Like, you know what I mean? And like, even for me, you know, the first band I've ever was in was Skinny Puppy. I mean, that's come on, you know, that's
And Tiergarten.
yeah, what was the name of your first band? Oh, it was Skinny Puppy.
I know, right? It's like it's been a fantastic journey and privilege, and you know, you have to look back at all the moments, and there's so many great moments, and it just shake my head that how lucky we were to be part of this whole thing, you know.
I learned a lot from Bill in the sense of his entrepreneurial sense, like the way he had connections to labels that
Well,
he'd call up a US label and a European label, and we'd have two deals.
Bill would create bidding
Yeah,
wars.
we'd create a bidding
Yeah.
war, or we'd have a deal. We'd have a deal by the next day.
And also work ethic.
at that point realized that he showed me like kind of like, Bill, you kind of like, you ended up showing me how to do that. So
But also the work ethic part. Like it was like, we're going to get in every day and work.
yeah,
And
even if we both got to cram into the back of an MG.
yeah, it was work
Yeah.
ethic. It was
Remember Dwayne? He just-
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We went out and
up to Vancouver Studio.
yeah, and we made this this album, Tenebrae Vision. And Bill, that was a fun experience.
It was crazy because when I just remember, I've never seen for us when Blixa was in the room, in the sound room, and he's like, I can't hear anything. What is this sound here? And you're like looking at me going, oh my God, this is so, do you remember?
He looked at me at one time and he was like, he said, I want to key the sound from the piano. And I thought, what is he talking about?
Did he need a reference note or something?
No, he wanted to key the gate, but from an acoustic piano. So what he was saying, I just want to trigger the gate. There was a sound coming through. It was a noise sound,
Okay.
but he wanted to key it from the piano. And I was like, what does key the gate mean? And I mean, at that point, I felt like, oh my God,
well, they used to do
I
everything.
gotta learn quick.
They used to do stuff at Hanso, highbrow studio,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was.
They recorded where they did Heroes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, by Bowie. Yeah, that's the same place.
I just found that to be. I think Bill and I were inspired by. Oh, didn't I pull it out? I thought I did. I thought there was one more album I had to make reference to here, Bill. There is.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome album.
I mean, I think this album kind of like also is like the last album of the great inspiration. Well, other than Cabaret Voltaire and Throbbing Gristle, you know, the Liaison stuff, man. Oh my God. When we used to hear this at Faces, it would just be like the life changing.
I know, right?
I think the first thing you said to me when we made Cyberactive was, let's make an album like Liaisons. So we tried to make an album that was as close as we could get. That's why Temper, it was in German and why it was just a sequence.
Yes. Do you remember that Nothing Stays? Is that like, where did that, like, was that you and Dwayne initially that, you know, like, and then I remember we were in the studio and then you said, oh, we've got one more song. And then I was like, wow. Do you remember that track?
Yeah. One of my songs. And basically I just offered it up at the end. And then I think a very magical thing happened between the connection between you and Greg really at that moment, because that was the first time that you ever worked with him. And I think that your relationship has continued from that day forward.
Yeah, it's like
you're right.
Yep. No, it was.
Was it?
I brought Greg in to mix it because we wanted to have something that was, you know, over and above what I was capable of. And then
was that 1990, right?
1990 at Vancouver Studios. Yeah, Greg came in and you know,
I think the first thing Greg mixed for us was like, I guess, Tactical, right?
Caustic.
Caustic was, oh yeah, sorry, Caustic, yeah.
I think Caustic was a little bit after that, because that was also Vancouver Studios.
Yeah. Okay.
You guys did Rabies at Vancouver Studios, right?
Right.
Mushroom and Vancouver Studios.
Okay, and then you did Cyber there. I think we did, and then after that we did Caustic, and then I think we did an intermix record there or something.
I just remember loading into the.
We got to look at Greg again. Come on, everybody, big up Greg, really.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of Greg, do you remember the Vivisect tour? Yeah. When he did sound?
Well, a lot of people don't know that Greg did more sound for Live Skinny Puppy than any other sound man.
Because I saw the Vivisect tour at the New York Theater with Greg, and he had the PA stack at the back of the room for the surround.
That was the best.
And it was insane.
Yeah.
And I remember being at that show and I was like, what the hell's going on? Their sound, because that didn't really happen at shows.
I know.
And it was nuts. That was an amazing show. That was probably the best Skinny Puppy show I've seen, actually. No offense to the Arts Club show, which had Bill Leeb on stage.
Was that your last Skinny Puppy show, Bill?
Yeah,
one of the Arts Club?
I think so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, what's bizarre is I always remember how, like, when we played in Edmonton or Calgary and when Dwayne opened for us, remember?
Absolutely. That's how I met Dwayne.
Yeah, but it was, but you know, did we even know that those guys were going to open up for us, or just mere chance?
Yeah, we didn't even know them. I mean, I was hearing music and I had to go out and check it out. I was like, wow, I see it's one guy with a female vocalist. They were called Water. They were called Water with this girl named Matt. They were amazing. And I had to say, I went up to him after, and the first thing he said to me after he'd heard our sound check was, "You sound like excessive 16K to me." I was like, wow, this guy's talking pure technical talk already. And he was straight up, just straight away, Mr. Pure Technical. And I don't even know how I got the idea that he should be the guy.
I mean, thinking how, if we didn't play that show in that place, that time, would you have ever met him again? You know, like it's just weird how, like, your chance, right?
And it's weird how he was in Psych before that, which is probably the only other Canadian band that was like doing anything sort of remotely similar. So it did work out that the scene kind of became together. You found Rhys, I found Dwayne, and we each had our guy that was like young and professionally classically trained. You're classically trained, aren't you?
No, I'm not classically trained, but I was more serious about drums. That was my interest.
Oh yeah.
So I played jazz drums. I could, I would read charts, and that
really,
was,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I used to be very serious about drums. Yeah.
Wow.
And you know what? My keyboard training was, I used to play accordion when I was a kid. I took accordion lessons.
Wow, I did too. If you can believe it or not.
So I can believe it.
I took banjo and accordion.
But when I was like early high school, I was really serious into drums.
Wow.
And I used to play like when because my dad played in bands, I would like fill in for like punk bands for rehearsals with like adults. And so I was very serious on drums. And then I just got into electronic music, and then I got a synth, and then I got the songbook to Architecture and Morality and learned all the songs, and that was my synth training.
So that just that quick? I mean, what actually was the impetus?
I don't know.
To get a synth?
Oh, because I liked electronic music.
But what was the first synth you got?
It was a Juno 106.
Just a Juno 106 just went out like that.
And I got a Juno, and I just had it in the basement, and I got that OMD songbook, and I just, I could still read music back then, and I just learned all the tunes, and that was it.
Hey, do you guys give any shout outs on this when you do podcasts?
Sure do. Feel free, Bill.
Okay. Well, one shout out is to somebody, Lily, and who was wearing this caustic Grip t-shirt today. That is a big inspiration of mine. And also like to Steve Orar, who runs our fan page, who tirelessly posts stuff out there and keeps it running. And I think it's important that, we acknowledge people that are out there. I'm sure you have your fan pages too, and so forth, for people who help promote music, but the only thing they do is they love the music. So I think that it's kind of good to do that, right?
Absolutely. And it's important to big up the people that big up everybody that supports this scene, like this, even people that are watching right now. Big up to you.
So I think everybody's going to show up to our shows. It's been a couple of years. I feel a little daunting because COVID came, everything shut down. I feel like everybody's kind of been out of the loop for a few years, and you kind of wonder, are people coming back? Are people still interested in this type of music? It's kind of a bizarre place to be at the moment, I find.
Anything like last night, you guys, it was amazing. It felt so good to be out again and seeing like something that was cool and like having a good time with your friends and stuff. I don't know. It's been 2 years for me since I've gone to a show. So I thought it was fun. It's like, stay safe and go and have fun on your show. And I think that, you should be okay. A self-reflecting pattern. You can see Chunk Blower, I believe, is online on YouTube, but if not, it's on this Patreon page. Just do a search for Chunk Blower. Hello, Curse Mackey. Hello, Bird Spanker. Hello, you guys. Thanks for your support. Looks like we got a couple of questions here, Bill. Let's go for some questions, shall we?
Go for it.
Shall we? Question for Bill. What does your studio setup look like? Equipment, synths, software anymore?
Usually I'm pretty much, how would you say now, like rogue. I usually go and work over at Rhys's studio now, like that. Things.
Keyboard, though. You have a keyboard at home you work stuff out on.
Yeah, I got a few keyboards downstairs, but I used to really had a big setup before, and things changed and so forth. But like now, the way things are, it's just a different gambit. Like I said, I usually go over to Rhys's and work now. He always has more of a permanent setup, so that's where I'm I'm just sort of floating around. And Jeremy had like a whole studio set up, so I would bring gear down there. So I'm kind of more in that world.
Joe, hi, Joe, big up Joe. Please ask about Bill's vocal chain. It seems a lot of people want to know. Would love to know everything about it, hardware effects, plugins, techniques. Rhys, I guess is that a question to you as well?
Well, on the old records, Greg was using Eventide H3000 a lot. And it's usually like a layer. You can't even really say because it's always kind of something different. If I remember on some of the old records, we used to overload one of those TC electronic EQs for distortion and then into an H3000. And then the delays would be like a TC 2290. And it was all pretty fancy studio gear.
That's
and
Greg gear, isn't it?
Yeah, that's all Greg.
That's
and then
Greg gear.
For the last record, like I think
we like both. We like both.
Soul. I did a lot of the stuff on Mechanical Soul, but again, it was sort of similar. I'd use like H3000 plugin and just some compression.
What program in the H3000? Is there one you guys like?
Well, the one we used to use was called Drum Processor.
Oh, I know that one. It's a great pitch. It's a pitch program, right?
Yeah, but it's sort of modulated.
Oh,
and
that's great.
It's like,
there's a secret for you people.
But it's a hard preset to find in the software. I can never find it in the software, but it was.
I have one downstairs if you need it.
Well, that used to be used a lot. And then we use vocoders a lot. And
yeah, what sort of vocoder do you like? I love the vocoder stuff you guys do.
The last record I was using the software Waldorf one. Is it called Lecter or something?
VST?
I use that one a lot. And then I had this other weird. It was supposed to be like an EMS vocoder, but it was software from some French company. It was not that easy to use. So I use Sound Toys plugins a lot on vocals.
Nice.
Like a lot. Like that's honestly. On Youth Code, Frontline, it's like the Sound Toy kind of distortion, compression, and then Eventide. I mean, so Eventide has had a lot to do with the Frontline vocal sound. So, and you can get an H3000 for not that much money now.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's the deft hand of Greg. Greg's very good at vocals.
Yeah.
So it's really even hard to describe because you can give someone all the same tools and the chances of them coming up with all those infinite combinations is hard. I mean, I learned everything I know about mixing just from being in a room with Greg. So I just all the years of absorbing that information. So it's hard to pinpoint one specific thing, but the H3000 is probably,
H3000.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
that's a good piece of gear to go to. James asks, is very excited about, is there any production related talk you could possibly discuss about the Cyberactive album? This one, that record sounds fantastic. Okay, so I guess they're talking about
what a little early.
A little early.
It's a little early.
We're going to let them tour first since they're about to start. And then we've been gathering.
Well, so far it's Kevin's studio. That's it so far.
Yeah.
Who's all in? Kevin, who is all in Cyberactive now? Who's we got this?
It's me and you and Rhys, and then now Eric has joined us, and then I believe Dre is also popping in on a couple of goodies. So
and we're gonna get mix it, right?
Get who?
Get Greg really to mix it, right?
I think Greg would be. Don't you think?
Greg's awesome.
Yeah. Well,
Greg's kind of like.
Yeah.
He's so old school. That if we didn't, I'd feel like, well, you know.
He's just very meticulous too, and he organizes everything, and sonically is always well organized, you know.
Yeah, and it's exciting too because then we get excited when we get to hear it.
Yeah,
and
it's like Greg's one of those engineers that knows what he's doing.
I mean
that in the sense like that. When I'm mixing stuff, I'm just tweaking it till it sounds good, whereas Greg kind of knows what he's doing.
Greg knows.
Yeah.
Scientifically,
there's a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin, all you have to do is put a picture of your studio up. That's where all the production's gonna a lot of come from, right? With all your stuff.
Probably. Okay, well, I'll do that later.
Yeah.
Question: what studio monitors? What audio interface?
Genelec. Always been Genelec.
Genelec for you, huh?
Forever. I've had the same speaker since 1997.
What about aren't those still standard?
What's that?
NS10s, aren't those the ones that are sitting on top of all the?
You know what? I take it back because when Mechanical Soul and Deviator was done on NS10s.
See? That's still
with the big Genelecs and NS10s sub. I love
with sub, of course,
NS10s
yeah.
with the sub
Yeah,
is,
it's nice,
is
yeah.
a great sound.
Yeah.
And
Without, don't even try it.
yeah. And then the hardware, I mean, I think Greg uses Pro Tools hardware. I use a Focusrite Red, which is really good.
What do you mean? That's your
Focusrite Red.
That's your interface?
It's Focusrite's professional interface.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I didn't know they made an interface.
Really good. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, they make some cheaper ones, but the Red is their Pro line, and it's really good. Yeah.
I noticed, like, I liked in your studio how you had you could record like multi-tracks at the same time.
Yeah.
All separated.
Yeah.
I know that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
But like I typically record with stereo stems because I have a bus chain.
No, I mean, I like to not record too much at once, but yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. I stupidly shouldn't have a bus chain, but I use like the Overstair and I use a Manly.
Yeah, you got to man. Yeah, no,
shit,
that makes sense.
Like all this sort of stuff in a service.
Yeah.
So I typically, but I like the way your studio was set up. And also when I sat in your studio with you, you have it set up in Ableton so that I've never seen it to be so worker friendly. Like the way that you had your screen set up so that I guess you were looking at the
I try and look at as much as possible.
yeah,
at
you
once.
look at the waveforms where you can take like one kick and say, no, I don't want that one kick.
Yeah, yeah.
I want that kick over there.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was like squared off so that it was like, was it?
I never use the session. I always use the other window.
It's not the session
Yeah.
window. It's the one, but does it sort of like chop the pieces into 16ths?
No,
As
you're
you're
just on the grid, so
you
it's
just
just
do that.
really easy.
It just looks like it's chopped.
super easy when you're on the grid.
Yeah.
You can jump around. But I actually use the drum cell a lot.
What's that?
The plug-in where you can just drag in samples and then do it with MIDI as well.
Oh, okay.
Which is more old-fashioned, but you know, it was funny. Like I pulled out the S1000 a little while ago.
Oh yeah.
And just threw some stuff in, and it was that sound.
Is it crazy how
but
like depending on what era of sound you want, you could go hook up your old gear and have that sound back.
The S1000 sounded like Costa Grip right away, but I just can't go back to that. It's just like looking at that little screen.
It's too hard.
I just couldn't do it. It's just, I know people like to talk about, but once you come this far, it's like, why would you want to go back? It's like I used to have an MSQ 700 sequencer. We used it on the first Faces Forms, Bill. I don't know if you remember that sequencer I had.
I guess so. Not really, but
Roland sequencer. You remember that?
Yeah, well, I had one
hated it. It's like you play it back and you're like, close enough.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah.
And when I see people talking and using this stuff, I go, why are you doing that to yourself? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you're just making it so hard for no reason. You know.
Bill, do you ever get itched to go buy gear again, or are you over it?
You wanted the Pro one.
you know, the only thing that I regret is the mini Moog. You know, like
maybe Josh.
I mean, he won't sell it, but I mean, it's probably in a good place, right?
Yes.
No, it's all you guys. You guys all have all that stuff. It's kind of like I get different things now. You know, everybody. It's like I figured.
Just bring the OBMX over to my place. Just bring it.
He still has something. You still have that?
It's sitting in his basement. I saw it sitting there. Just bring it.
I still have like a brand new 303, and I have a brand new 606, and I have the OBMX.
Yeah, he's still got some stuff.
A brand new 303,
like in the case.
Yeah.
Are you talking like an original Roland TB303
with the silver case? Yeah, I've seen it. We used it on Delirium Spears. It's all over that record.
Wow.
Wasp. I've got 707. I still actually have an 808. You know, I got some junk down there, right? It's just sitting there, right?
Junk. Let's go down there and like hook it up.
Oh,
you know, he still has the MKS80 with the Pro.
Oh wow, the MKS80 program
with
nice.
the PG80 program, which is nice.
Those things are
it's a really nice synth.
10 grand now.
I can't even.
But I have that. Yeah, I have the MKS80 with the program and the thing. It looks like it's brand new, right? Maybe I'll give it charity. I'll raffle it off for Starving Musicians Fund or something.
Do you still have the microwave?
What's that? Yeah.
Microwave?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So that's a nice synth.
He's got a gold mine down.
That's a nice.
You got
synth.
the Frontline Pro one?
What's that?
You got an original Pro one?
Of course. Yeah. I actually have two. I have one of the original, and then I have the one Gary Smith sold me, the Images and Moog one.
Bill when we
He's got
did
the Images
total,
in Vogue one. You know what that means, Bill? That's the original Skinny Puppy one, the one that we did.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go. Maybe I'll have an auction one day, and you can just put it all up, and
Yeah.
when I'm dead and gone, and they can, do their thing, right?
when we did the Total Terror stuff, Bill had a Prophet 600. That's long gone though, isn't it?
And the other one I shouldn't have sold was the Oscar. I had a mint.
Yeah. Bill, do you still have the Prophet 600?
I've never had one of those. Did I?
You did.
Yeah,
You did.
yeah, I remember you did.
Oh, I didn't like it. I didn't like it, actually.
He also had an MS-50 in mint.
No,
That got
that's too much.
sold. I remember when he sold that.
Oh yeah. I used to drool over that when I come into your studio. But you don't have as you don't have, like, I remember you guys used to have like a Star Trek fucking battleship station
Right by Mushroom.
Yeah.
At the network.
Yeah.
We had, but you know what? I have to tell you, that's like around the time when we started doing like Millennium Records. We had too much gear because.
Hey, actually, when we were in Slack Studio, we had a room full of gear when we wrote Silence and all those songs. Remember?
So much stuff.
much stuff.
But when I look back, I think, like, I'll use an example. The song Millennium, the ARP 2600 only appears in the middle break with this and that's it for the whole record. An ARP 2600 gray killer synth. That's the only place it's on the whole album. So it sort of seems like it's a bit of a waste, isn't it? You got like this machine you can make an entire album on, and we use it for bleeps in the middle of Millennium, and that's it, because we had so much stuff. It was just like,
that's how it goes sometimes, especially in that era. I mean, was in the era when people were selling stuff, for so cheap that it was just stupid.
It was like, I think when we did Hardwired, we actually used a more focused. Hardwired is the Emulator 4 sampler that I got, the OBMX, and the first Nord lead. That's most of that record. It's just those three things. So it's kind of like focusing a little.
More important, I still have the SC1, which you came up with that sort of Dr. Dre lead line for Silence. Remember?
That's an old SC1. That's like when they first started making them. Yeah.
They're really good.
Played that line, and I thought that's it, and that's the biggest song of our life, right? And it's kind of like
it's all over Silence. It's on Surface Patterns.
So that's that's really. I mean, that's solid, right?
I have one downstairs too.
They're nice. I like those guys, brothers. They're great.
So,
Animal Noise asks, what kind of role does sampling play in your current workflow versus the old days?
Like the early stuff, any of the stuff that we did, like all of it, sampling was a huge part. All for Delirium, for Frontline. I mean, it kind of, don't you remember, like in the old Puppy days, like Haunted House on the Hill and
what about
all the movies?
Still sampling, or is he using?
Yeah, we do it a different way though. Yeah. We don't. We're a little more careful what we sample.
Yeah, but we're way.
Still lots of sampling though. Tons of sampling. Just a little more careful.
Yeah. It's a different world now with that, right? They have people that are looking for that stuff, right? So, but I mean, electronic music sampling, like, opened the whole world. You could be an orchestra, you could be a drummer, you could be anything just by tweaking samples. And I mean, some of the greatest records, Eamon Tobin, all these kind of artists, DJs, incredible stuff by just taking little bits, putting it together. And you can't do that just writing a song on a keyboard. So I think it was one of the most important things, if not, besides the invention of the computer, for electronic music, right? Because don't you remember when we used to go in, there wasn't even for the Pro Ones, you had to write down the sequence. Remember, we were for the stuff trying to find the right notes, and it took hours, right?
Now, did you guys have these little maps that you would make for that too, where it wasn't like sheet music? It was more like,
I guess,
I used to make these ticks that would go.
When I started with Bill for Caustic, we were all using the Atari.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before that, it was just like almost like you just throw stuff down on the Poor Studio and move on.
I mean, the invention of MIDI was huge, right? I mean, just think of that. Like, as far as I don't think we'd be doing this, right? if we were using analog sequencers and stuff like that.
You were really good at picking up the Porta Studio, the original cassette Porta Studio, because he was so good at DJing and making the tapes that he was already making, that we referred to here.
The Porta Studio is
your Porta Studio work.
Those things sound good.
Yeah, and it sounded good. What isn't it like the first album of Frontline Assembly from cassette Porta Studio?
Initial Command is.
Yeah, Initial Command, Porta Studio.
So is State of Mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, isn't some of Corrosion Porta Studio?
I guess so. I don't know. Like it's I had that 8. Remember, I had that TX 8-track or something.
Oh no, that was later. You upgraded.
Oh, yeah, that reel to reel.
You upgraded. Yeah. I remember you. I think you said something like, "This is the one Edward has."
I remember that. It was a small one.
Yeah, but it sounded good.
It was a 1/4-inch 8-track. Yeah, I remember.
It sounded good.
It did sound good. So, Bill, what do you do now to introduce a song idea to Rhys? Do you collect? Do you make a rough, or do you suggest ideas, or how do you guys work now?
I think like for the new Delirium album, we just song ideas, other things I hear that I like, or just like a couple notes, a couple chords, just things like that. And we just I guess after all these years of working together,
I know I already know what he wants.
Yeah.
You know what's Bill's mind. I'm like, I already got it, Bill. Like this. He goes, yeah, like that. All right, here we go.
Massive victory, because like when you go in with somebody you've never worked before, it get cold really quick. But with Rhys, it's almost like it's kind of like we just close our eyes and off we go. And
you know what? Honestly, when I think about it, I have a really good idea of what Bill's going to like. But then the other good part is Bill is really good at like coming in and going, yeah, this is too far over here. We got to pull it this way. And let me throw in this. And then, which is I appreciate that way more now, to have another voice come in and go, no, we're losing it. We got to pull this back. And, I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now, because it's actually really good to have a barometer of some kind, because when you're working on stuff, you get totally lost in stuff. You don't know what's happening. And Bill will just come in and go, yeah, this ain't happening. We got to go back to that. And that's really, really helppful. And the new records we make together we really got that dynamic, like making, like the way we make records together is, I don't want to use the word easy because it's work, but we just have a way we get them done. And it's never really a struggle.
Because you've established such a long career.
Yeah, we just know
what you've done.
We know what each other brings.
You know where to go. You know how he thinks. He knows how you think.
And Bill is very good for saying, you know what, this concept is maybe wrong and we're missing this part. And yeah, it's a good balance.
I mean, so one thing in my life that I wish that I could have is my partner. I wish I could still have Dwayne, because we had a similar thing. And then I realized, when you lose somebody that
it's
close
it's hard to replace.
It's like losing your right arm.
Yeah, it is.
Bill, have you ever,
Bill had Jeremy and those guys for a while.
How important like your relationship with your partner is.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been a few, but yeah, like me and Rhys and me and Jeremy, and then Jared.
Jared's really good. You know what? Jared was good. I was telling Bill, like when we were doing like rehearsals, my favorite Frontline song to play is one that Bill and Jared wrote.
Oh, wow.
Every time I'm playing, I'm like, man, I love this song. This song's awesome. Because I don't have perspective on the songs that I worked on, because it's a different perspective. But when you hear someone else's music, you kind of see it differently. Yeah, you almost enjoy it more. You know what I remember? I was telling you that, Bill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love playing that song. It's like, this is good.
Rhys is referring to Blood.
Blood. I love the song Blood. It's my favorite Frontline song. And I'm talking about like all of them.
Yeah.
So
do you have a favorite song that you do, Bill?
Of what?
Of
You
all.
know,
Comes up in the set and you're like, oh yeah, here we go.
yeah. I mean, that I don't know. That's I always find that an impossible question to answer. You know, like 'cause I find music's like mood driven. You know, like in a certain mood, I want my face to be ripped off. In another mood, you just want to be quiet and dark. You know, and so a good set when you play live, you know, you have your peaks and valleys. You know what I mean? And so I just find everything kind of finds a place. You know, yeah, Blood's definitely up there. You know, on the right nights, you know, Mind Phaser can still be like a glorious song in Europe when you got 15,000 people waving their hands, and you kind of go, yeah, you know, this makes sense. You know, then you just kind of go for it. You know, like so. It yeah, just depends.
Vanish, I think Vanish might be Bill's best vocal and lyric on the Civilization record. That's a good one too. That one
trigger some goosebumps.
Yeah, that's another nice one to play live, and the lyrics are good, and Bill's vocal delivery on that's one of I in my opinion is one of his best.
So you guys are looking forward to playing live, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna play these songs.
Bill, are you looking? How are you feeling about you getting a chance to have a mic in front of your mouth in the last couple of years?
Well, I feel like it's not going to get real till I go down to LA tomorrow, and then me and Tim and John in the studio,
and you get there.
It's loud and shit happens, and you kind of go, okay, this is cool.
Powell No What Tony says, just one simple but tough question for Bill and Rhys. If you could take only one hardware synth to a deserted island, what would it be?
I can answer that. Probably the Waldorf Q Plus.
Is that the orange one you have?
The red one, yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing's beautiful.
And
you still love it like that.
I still love it because it can really do everything. And
it has such a unique sound.
I mean, I don't know if it's like my number one favorite, but if I have to bring one, I'm going to bring that one because it does it all.
Bill?
Any sense, you mean? Yeah. Probably the Mini Moog. Hands down. It's the most beautiful stint ever made, I think. You know,
the Mini's like furniture.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's like
furniture.
The Pro 1 is a close second.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. A good Pro 1, if it was in mint, you know,
remember the clear one? Did you ever see the clear one?
No, I never saw.
They made a clear one. I was like, I'm surprised you don't have one of those.
No.
Kevin, I remember when you found the multi-move. Do you remember? You got pretty excited.
I was so excited about that.
Those are uncommon still.
Very uncommon.
Yeah.
I still have it.
Yeah, they're nice.
And you were making the Chris Carter sounds. Do you remember?
Totally.
Not too many people even. I don't even know of anyone that used those.
No, there isn't. I mean, I guess they're around, but they weren't the most common one.
I found a video of Herbie Hancock playing a micro Moog solo at the Montreux Jazz Festival or something.
Well, Bill had the micro.
Yeah, the micro. Yeah.
Bill, remember that?
They're not common.
It's like the
common machines.
The classic. We'd be playing live, and Bill hit that micro. We'd be like,
yeah. They said all those machines sound awesome.
So who we got here? We got Choke Chain, Hakes, Mutant.
I don't know how to say that other name, but that music's actually pretty cool. But I don't know how to. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name.
Zug.
But the music's actually pretty cool.
And those are appearing in various cities here.
Regional
on the thing.
Yeah,
Choke Chain. And then as you can see on the list here, people, you should go out and buy your tickets right now. Right?
Yes.
Yes, go and buy your tickets right now because what is the date today? The 1st. So in 4 days from now in San Francisco at the DNA Lounge, you can run into Bill and Rhys there and company and John and everybody at the show and go and support.
And be the next big thing. So you want to be able to go, you know, I saw Rain with Frontline before she's massive, right? I'm just saying, you know.
Robin.
Yeah.
And by the way, his name is not Kevin Key. Bill,
so hey, I have to roll here now. So like, I'm not sure.
We're about to end it right this very second, Bill.
Cool.
Thank you for joining us today, you guys.
That was awesome having Bill.
It was long awaited.
It was awesome having Bill.
Thanks for Bill, someone says, hey, maybe we can have an unboxing in your garage with all the equipment one day.
I'll bring a camera in.
Okay.
I'll come in there with him.
I'd like to say like a big shout out to all the people that have been messaging me that are going to come out and see us and have given like, you know, positive feedback and stuff. So yeah, I hope we're going to see out there, and it's going to be a big family reunion of the industrial world of music, and everybody comes out and has a good time.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Gano, Michael Birdspanker, Charlie Bailey, David Stewart, Ronald Cotton, Hugh Morgan, JC Snow, Michael, Michelle, Charlie, Nick, all you guys, Brett, all the way from Europe, all the way over there and back. Go and see Frontline. Are you guys going to Europe? You're going to do a European tour?
August, yeah.
Excellent. Well, you look forward to seeing these guys in August over there. Bill, I know you got your day starting. Hopefully I can see you when you come down here. If not,
All right.
You come out to the rehearsal.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Come out.
But have a good tour if I don't see you. Okay?
All right. Peace out.